Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to be with all of you, all the wonderful devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm sure I'll be benefited by all of your associates. So this week we had three very special occasions. One was the disappearance of and Gopal Bhatta Goswami. We had the disappearance of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and also the disappearance of Srila Lokannath Goswami. And one more. Yes. Yesterday, uh, Srila Prabhupada, after a long struggle of 30 plus years, Srila Prabhupada, of more than 35 years of struggle, he actually established ISKCON officially yesterday, 60 years back. Yesterday, ISKCON completed officially 60 years. 60 years long journey. If you go to a place in Calcutta, the name is Ulta Danga. If you go on the temple there, the Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he lived and it was the headquarters of the Gaudiya Mutt before he built the Bagh Bazaar temple. Before he built the Bagh Bazaar temple, because Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was doing Nirjan Bhajan in Mayapur. And he said Lord Chaitanya Panchatattva came into his dream and told him, what are you doing here? Go and preach. So he came to Kolkata. And then he was staying in this Ulta Danga temple center. There Srila Prabhupada met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur for the first time. His friend took him to meet. So in the roof of that, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta instructed Srila Prabhupada. And it is if you go to this place in the street pole on the address, on the street pole of the entrance of the gate, there is something written. Anybody has read? Anyone remember who's been there? It's written birthplace of ISKCON. So it is written birthplace of ISKCON. Anybody knows why it is written like this? ISKCON was incorporated yesterday, but it's written there, birthplace of ISKCON. Anybody knows why? Srila Prabhupada was influenced by the mission of Gandhi, and Subhash Chandra Bose was just a senior in his college, and he was very influenced by the freedom, non-violence. That's a different story. Prabhupada was influenced by Gandhi's mission of non-violence to get freedom, and later on when he met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, and later when he established ISKCON, Prabhupada made a statement, Gandhi is holding a Gita and telling everyone non-violence, and Krishna in the Gita is telling kill. Krishna in the Gita is telling everyone kill. So there, when Srila Prabhupada met Bhakti Siddhanta, with the instruction, it is said, the desire to follow the instruction of his spiritual master, ISKCON was born in the heart of Srila Prabhupada, there only. That instruction struck him so much that the first thing what he thought after meeting Bhakti Siddhanta is that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is in the right hands. And second thing which came to his mind was, anybody knows what? Hmm? Yes. Nobody knows? He accepted as spiritual master, okay? Prabhupada had a great desire to surrender just by this instruction. And of course, there are two things. One was the answer which Bhakti Siddhanta gave. Anybody remembers what answer Bhakti Siddhanta gave to Srila Prabhupada? The message of Godhead doesn't depend on a political situation of a nation. It is a need of every living being, every human being, always. Nobody remember? Prabhupada thought, he writes, he mentions also in some of the conversation. He says, I was so influenced that I immediately wanted to join him, but I could not. Now anybody knows? Still? Ah, Prabhupada said, when I met him, I was so influenced that I wanted to join him immediately, but I was already married. I already married. And then Srila Bhakti Siddhanta came twice in his dream, take sannyas. Bhakti Siddhanta came twice in his dream to take sannyas. Anyways, with a great struggle, I'll share some letters in the later part of the lecture today because I was going through Prabhupada's, because few days ago I was reading the Leelamrita, which is actually the initial struggle after Srila Prabhupada started his talk. But I was trying to read yesterday Prabhupada's struggle until he met, no, until he actually met Srimati Morarji and got a ticket to marriage. I was reading Prabhupada's life, then I thought maybe I go through the letters. There were some amazing letters, which I will share a little later. So we have Gopal Bhatta Goswami's disappearance. I'll speak a little bit about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami was born in a Sri Vaishnava family in the place called Sri Rangam. In a place called Sri Rangam. How many of you been to Sri Rangam? Okay. Beautiful place. I have been 3 times to Sri Rangam. So Sri Rangam is a very special place because the deity of Lord Ranganath is a very special deity. 10 and last week, I think, 10 days ago, I was in Thiruvananthapuram. Your place, right? Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala, where you have the deity of Ananta Padmanabh Swami. Ananta Padmanabh Swami. The deity is almost the size of, I think, just if you leave the 1/4, that big is that deity. To see that deity, you need 3 doors. The face of the deity is seen from one door. The belly of the Lord is actually Mahavishnu, because Lord Brahma is coming from the belly, and Bhudevi, Shri Devi are there, and Lord is having a very beautiful smiling face there, and the feet from the 3rd door. Anyways, coming back to Sri Rangam, these are beautiful deities we don't get to see anywhere outside of South India. Outside of South, only South India has this special deities. So Lord Ranganath is very special. Little brief I'll tell about Lord Ranganath. So Lord Ranganath is the ancestral deity of Lord Rama. Brahmaji worshipped the deity. When it came down, Dasharath worshipped, then Lord Rama worshipped. As you all know, when Lord Rama was introducing Hanuman and Vibhishan and Sugriv, Angad, after he came back to Ayodhya. So we know the famous that when Lord was trying to introduce Hanuman, and Lord Sita Devi was gifting. Whomever she was doing, she was giving gifts. So when it came to Hanuman, the Lord told a very beautiful statement. He said, I don't possess anything in my possession which I can consider as a gift to Hanuman for the devotion of what Hanuman has performed. And Lord actually cries and embraces Hanuman. I offer myself to you. And then when it comes to Vibhishan, the Lord gives him the ancestral deity and tells him that you take this and go to Lanka and you worship. But make sure while going, you don't put the deity on anywhere in the earth. There's another big story, but while passing by at Rangashetra, Srirangam, Vibhishan wanted to perform his Sandhya, Gayatri and prayers. So he kept the deity there. When he kept the deity there, after performing his Sandhya, Gayatri and everything, he wanted to lift the deity. Deity was not ready to go. So it stayed back. But the special deity, this is the deity facing south. So the Lord told him, look, you put me down here. Now I'll be here only. But don't worry, my eyes are towards Lanka. And I'm always watching you from here. Be there, don't worry. So there's a full Sri Rangam. This Jagannath Puri, Sri Rangam, these temples are very special. These actually gives us a glimpse of traditional Vaishnava Vedic culture. How Vaishnavas is. If you go, all the Brahmanas are living around. It's like a city, and the city is centered around the deity of the city, like that. So there lived one great Vaishnava called Venkat Bhatt, whose son is Gopal Bhatta. Now, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his tour to South India, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his tour to South India, he went to Rangashit. And as we know, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is beautiful described, wherever Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go, he used to perform Sankirtan, raising his hands loudly with tears in his eyes. He would chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What used to happen when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to do Sankirtan, a glimpse of that you can see in Mayapur, in one of the art painting in the Mayapur temple house. When you take a left from Panchatattva, the altar, anyone remember when you take a left from Panchatattva, the Parikrama Marg. Right in the straight there is first frame. Anyone has noticed that frame? Who has noticed that frame? What is happening there? Exactly. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing Sankirtan. It's fully crowded all around Mahaprabhu. And there are buildings around, houses. Above the houses, a Mataji is also raising hand and standing like this. All Mataji's hands are like this. Above that building. And if you see on the floor, people are actually painting on the floor, hearing Mahaprabhu Sankirtan. Mahaprabhu was so beautiful, 8 feet golden, molted gold body. Wherever he would go, just by seeing him, hearing his Sankirtan, people would be, painting on the floor. Like when Satul Krishna, of course, I told this in Mayapur also. While he was going to Puri also, when he was doing Sankirtan, people will paint and they would get up. After getting up, their wives will wake them up. They ask the wife, who are you? And others, you see my wife. They will be lost in Krishna Prem by hearing Sankirtan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So everyone was very influenced. And then Srila Venkat Bhatt, we just actually, also this is very special to know, we just had Rath Yatra recently. So it is by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime in Sri Rangam, the significance of Lord Jagannath Devi, Patitapavan Jagannath, was actually also established. One of our Acharya, he writes that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all his life in Puri, worshipped and took darshan and cried every day to darshan of Lord Jagannath. But when he left Puri also, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never worshipped any deity except one Giriraj-shila. I think Lokannath Goswami gave him that deity. Worship one Giriraj-shila. Otherwise, with his own hand, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu carved the deity, which is still today. How many of you take that beautiful deity it is in Sri Rangam? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in the house of Gopal Bhatta. He stays in Venkat Bhatta's house and carves the deity of Lord Jagannath in Chaturmasya and worships that deity. And then he says, this is the most less like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Patita Pavan. Similarly, Jagannath form of Lord Krishna is Patita Pavan. Anyone who just sees Lord Jagannath and very seriously thinks can establish a direct relation with Lord Jagannath. Can establish a direct relation with Lord Jagannath. So, Venkat Bhatt, there's some few verses, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was doing Sankirtan, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also getting Diksha. Venkat Bhatt approached Lord Chaitanya and he requested, Chaturmasya kripa kari raho mora ghare Krishna katha kari कृपया उद्धार हमारे तांड्रा घरे रोइला प्रभु Krishna Katha Rasa Bhatta Sange Gonila Shuke Chari Mase. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at the request of Venkat Bhatta in the house of Venkat Bhatta for 4 months. And there Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke Krishna Katha and relished the association of Venkat Bhatta and his whole family. Now, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a long discussion because Sri Vaishnavas, all the four Sampradayas, they have different significance of worship. So Sri Vaishnavas, they are more in awe and reverence, worshiping the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a long discussion with Venkat Bhatt, several days, and he educated Venkat Bhatt about the significance of the devotees of Vrindavan, the speciality of Braja Bhakti, the beauty and the selfless love of the Brajavasis, established the supremacy of Madhurya Bhakti over there. And Venkat Bhatt surrendered. But he continued his worship to Sri Rangana. Little Gopal Bhatt, who was a son, he at home, he was young, very young. He was hearing all these things. And just by first glance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gopal Bhatta had surrendered to Lord Chaitanya. And Gopal Bhatta was practically not serving, but he was worshipping Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the 4 months. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could see the heart of Gopal Bhatta. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that now, as soon as the 4 month ends, Gopal would like to go with you, renouncing everything. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Gopal Bhatta and he told him, you stay here. You stay here and you worship your mother and father. The great Vaishnavas. So you worship them and after your duties are over, then you come to Vrindavan. Then you come to Vrindavan. So as instructed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Gopal Bhatta stayed there and after Venkat Bhatta and his good wife, they departed from this world. Gopal Bhatta left Rangashetra and kept following Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's a big pastime. Coming to the main, special leelas of Gopal Bhatta, this is about the deity of Radha-Ramana. It's very special. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once came in the dream of Gopal Bhatta and he told him, you go to Gandaki. Here you take bath in Gandaki River. In the, what we call, the mouth of, what we call the, where manifest, Gandaki manifest. There's a Gandaki bank. There you take bath and you worship Shalagrama. So now it is said that Gopal Bhatta Goswami goes there at Gandaki River on the top at Muktinath. Very difficult to reach at Muktinath. He takes bath there. He takes bath and taking dip in the river. When he comes up, 12 Shalagrama-shilas come on his chadar. And he sees, when he very respectfully, carefully, he puts those shilas back into the river. Then again takes the second dip. Again the Shalagram come on his chadar. Cloth. So then the third time when it happens, he takes those deities and as he was residing in Vrindavan, he comes and worships. Now, in Vrindavan, there were already very special deities. Srila Sanatan Goswami was worshipping Madan Mohan. Rupa Goswami, hmm, Radha Govindji. And there is another special, Radha Gopinath was worshipped by Madhu Pandit. It is said that these three deities, especially by the verification of Uttara, Madan Mohan deity was confirmed that the feats of Madan Mohan is exactly similar to Lord Krishna when he was in Vrindavan. And it was recognized by the elders that the chest of Govindev is exactly like Lord Krishna. And the smiling face of Gopinath is exactly like Sri Krishna. So the deities were residing in Vrindavan. So one day, a rich merchant came to Vrindavan and he was offering donation and also garments and jewelry to all the Goswais of Vrindavan for their deities. So when he came to Gopal Bhatta, he offered Gopal Bhatta also jewelry and dress and some donation. So already seeing the worship of these beautiful deities, Gopal Bhatta used to have this desire that, I got these Shilas to worship, that he also had a great desire to worship the Shiv Vigraha. Shri Vigraha means the deity carved out of the elements which is mentioned in 7th, 11th canto. The deity carved of the elements which are, you can worship a deity out of. And those deities are carved according to the descriptions of the Lord's body in the scripture. The Lord Gopal Bhatta also desired. So when he got this gift by this merchant, Jaipur, so that night, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he was crying in the night, crying to the Lord that, my Lord, you have not manifested to me. I have a great desire, but you are here in the form of Shalagram. Like that, crying, 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 Gopal Bhatta. And when he woke up in the morning, his Shilas were there. Amongst the Shilas, there was a beautiful deity of Radha Madan Mohan. And out of 12 Shila, there were 11 Shila. And Radha Madan Mohan was one standing in between them. So when he touched the deity on the back, even today, the back of Radha-Raman is actually having the roughness of the Narsimha Shila, which was there. It was a Narsimha Shila. Now the best part is, what? This deity manifested, and in time, the other three deities, which actually which has the significance of face, chest, and the feet of the Lord, they left Vrindavan. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami's Radha-Raman are still in Vrindavan. Sri Radha-Madan Ji. So this is one very, very special pastime. And it is said that Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami was, most of our spiritual masters in the Gaudiya Vaishnava line are actually, the spiritual masters who are mentioned in the scripture are actually the Manjaris. Manjaris are the youngest gopis who are assisting the elder gopis to serve Radha and Krishna. They said that Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he was actually Ananga Manjari in the spiritual world. He was Ananga Manjari who manifested. Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki. Sri Lokannath Goswami, he was born in Bangladesh, current Bangladesh. He was born in a Brahmin family. His father's name was Padmanabha Chakravarti and his mother was Sita Devi. As a child, Srila Lokannath Goswami, he showed a lot of detachment and indifference to materialistic life and family and society. And he preferred more alone to be absorbed in spiritual path and spiritual practice from the very childhood. Once he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while traveling to Navadip, and he had darshan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu embraced him. And Lokannath Goswami, after staying for some time and having association with Mahaprabhu, he was one amongst the devotees, Srila Lokannath Goswami and Srila Bhugarbha Goswami. They were actually sent by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even before the six Goswamis to excavate the pastime places of Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, of course, if you see Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went there, see what the Gaudiya Vaishnavas have gifted. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said Vrindavan 500 years back, most of the places, only Mathura, Kamski Nagari, Janmasthal, like that places were only visible. Most of the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes in the 12 forests of Vrindavan were lost, including Radhakund and Shama, including Nandagaon, Barsana. They were all lost. Of course, Barsana was there, the Barsana palace was there. But nobody knew. Until if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he goes to Nandagaon, he asks the local people. And the local people say, yes, there is some deity in the mountain up there in the cave. There's one deity of, no, there are two black deities there. There's Krishna Balram deity which is there now also in Nandagaon. So it was all lost. So Srila Lokannath Goswami was among the first devotees, one of the first devotees who went, read scriptures, perform bhajan, and through the Lord's blessings, they while sleeping, they would just chant and sleep. And in the sleep, while chanting, they would cry, chanting the holy name. And while in the dream, they will get to know about different places they were explored. So many places. Actually, that research is one. I have one book that book is out of print. In that, many of these places, how they were found. Some of the places, not many of the places, some of the places, how they were found. Many of this is how places were excavated. Not only six Goswamis, they also empowered many of them. How they were excavated, that's written it's not there written every place. But if you see 84 course, Gaudiya Vaishnavas have the biggest contribution. He was very humble and he was very reluctant because of his devotion, simplicity, humility. He became very famous and people wanted to take shelter. But he was very reluctant. He had so much details about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. He shared them with Krishnadas Goswami. And he was so humble that he has very strictly instructed Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that don't mention my name in the biography of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is Chaitanya Chaitanya. He requested him that you please don't mention my name there. If you mention my name, then it will be a very big offense and it will be a very big disrespect. Because I'm so sinful, people should not read and hear my name. Don't mention my name. He had only one disciple. Anyone knows who's that? Narottam Das. Lokannath Goswami was a renowned saint and Narottam Das Thakur was, who? Was a prince. Narottam Das Thakur was a prince. And when he met Lokannath Goswami, he surrendered to him. And he wanted to accept Sri Lokannath Goswami as his spiritual master. Lokannath Goswami refused. He said, I am not qualified. By thinking this, you are giving big offenses to the whole parampara. Thinking that I am qualified to give initiation. He rejected. He said, no, I will not. You know what Lokannath Das Thakur did? Narottam Das Thakur secretly where Lokannath Goswami used to early in the morning do his morning duty. Narottam Das Thakur, after Lokannath Goswami would take bath and come back and start his chanting, Narottam Das Thakur used to go and clean that place. And when next day morning Lokannath Goswami used to go there, he used to be surprised. That happened for 1 year. For 1 year. I think we should have this in our initiation exam. Some kind of strict surrender. When I was one of the first lectures in 2003, I heard was Jayapataka Maharaj. When I left my home and I went to Mayapur. So Jayapataka Maharaj was giving class that day when I reached Mayapur. And he was healthy, not like now he is. And he used to have almost the size of the other side of the, no, this big wamper, like this. He used to have that big wampers and he used to play. And he used to sing Radha Madhav and give class. While suddenly giving class, he used to close his eyes. And his eyes is, those who have seen him when he was very healthy, his eyes is greenish and bluish. Greenish and bluish. And suddenly he used to close his eyes while giving the class and go like this, silent. And then devotees would say, Gauranga, 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 like this. And then he would remove his wampur and do kirtan. Then he would further continue his class. That was my first impression about it. I was shocked. What was I connecting this to? I forgot that. Yes, now I remember. So in that class, Jayapataka Maharaj said that now we have so many copies of Bhagavad Gita easily available, and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are distributing this profusely, and it is one of our main occupations. But earlier, when someone wanted to surrender his life to a spiritual master, the spiritual masters would, in the Vedic era, the spiritual masters would have their individual copy of the Vedic scripture, Gita and Bhagavad, only the verses, in the very early days. He said that if a disciple wanted his own copy, he has to renounce first everything, stay with the Guru, and write his own copy from Guru's copy. Make his own copy, hearing from the Guru, learning from the Guru, and then making the commentaries from Guru's lecture and make his own copy. That's how one used to have his own copy. That I heard in that lecture. Apparently, I had gone to do Bhakti Shastri, and this was the first stroke I got by Jayapataka Maharaj. So when Narottam Das Thakur came to know, he gave initiation. He accepted Srila Narottam Das. Lokannath Goswami accepted Narottam Das Thakur. One very special thing which happened in Lokannath Goswami's life, due to his intense austerity and deep prayers, the Lord personally came in a place near Barsana. It's called Kishori Kund. Lord personally came and gave him Radha Krishna, Srila Lokannath Goswami. And then he named them Radha Vinod. Those details are also in Japanese. Radha Vinod, Lokannath Goswami. Lokannath Goswami, he did not build a temple. If you see, how many people see Radha Vinod? They are just on the main road in Jaipur. It's small. Lokannath Goswami had a goni. Goni क्या बोलते हैं? Jute bag. Cloth and jute bag. And he didn't have a temple. He used to carry Radha Vinod with him in the jute bag and worship them every day and put them to sleep. See, Srila Lokannath Goswami, as I told already, he was Manjari in the spiritual world who came down to assist Krishna. Srila Lokannath Goswami ji. So I was reading about Srila Prabhupada, about his struggle, as I mentioned. So I went through some letters, and from that letters I made some notes because letters were big. I made some notes. I read some 20-30 letters. Generally, what I do, if I have a lack of reading quota, which always is there, so we have Vaishnava calendar. In that calendar, every week 2-3 things are there, isn't it? Every week some 1 or 2 appearance, disappearance, some occasion is there. So I read it. And then I get something, I make a note of it. When I have to give a class, I try to take those notes and prepare. So Srila Prabhupada, 1947, after meeting Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he actually wrote a letter to Gandhi. This is one of the first letters of Srila Prabhupada, which is there in record with us. See, this is our letters of Srila Prabhupada, which is there before Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON. There is another book, I forgot the name of the book. That book mentions these are all comment in interviews of devotees whom Srila Prabhupada and various scholars, various merchants, businessmen whom Srila Prabhupada met before going to America. Huh? Mool Prakriti Marg. What's the book's name? Srila Prabhupada Avadiyam. It's a beautiful book. When I was staying in the Jew Brahmacharya ashram as a new bhakta, I completed that book. Letters I read after marriage. So Prabhupada writes, it's July 12, 1947. Mahatma Gandhi ji, Bangi Colony, New Delhi. You know, Mahatma Gandhi in the last was staying in the Bangi Colony because he wanted to elevate the Harijans. He was staying there. So Prabhupada writes, I tell you as a sincere friend that this is the first paragraph, first paragraph. Prabhupada to Gandhi, 1947. Just July 12, 1947 means how many months before freedom? 1 month before the freedom. Prabhupada is saying, I am telling you as a sincere friend that you must immediately retire from active politics. And if you so desire, if you do not desire to die an inglorious death. 1 month before Prabhupada is writing, and after freedom in a year or 2 he was killed. If you do not desire to die an inglorious death, the honor and prestige that you have obtained during the course of the present lifetime were not possible to be obtained by anyone else within the living memory. But you must know that all these honors and prestiges are false, in as much as they were created by the illusory energy of Godhead called Maya. Can you imagine Prabhupada as a person having nothing right now? Courage to write Gandhi like this, that retire and you will die an inglorious life. कुछ भी नहीं है, ISKCON नहीं, followers नहीं, कुछ नहीं. Who can think? हम तो सोचेंगे भैया हमारा भविष्य क्या है, भक्त बन के भविष्य क्या है कि नहीं? भक्त तो बन के वो तो समझ में आ गया, आगे भविष्य क्या है भाई? You should therefore take a note of a warning from your insignificant friend like me, that unless you retire timely from politics and engage your self-sent person in preaching the work of Bhagavad Gita, which is a real function of Mahatma. Your name is Mahatma Gandhi. You shall have to meet with such inglorious death as Mussolini, Hitler, Tojos, Churchills, and Lloyd Georges meet with. Amazing. Just see who is our Acharya? Who is our Acharya? He has nothing and he has the courage to write Mahatma. Who was Mahatma Gandhi, July 1947? And what Prabhupada is writing, I was shocked. And he writes the same thing writes to Jawaharlal Nehru. Now you should immediately take a break from your Prime Minister job. It will come later. You wanted chiefly Hindu-Muslim unity in India, and they have tactfully managed to undo your work by creation of Pakistan and India separately. You wanted freedom for India, but you have given permanent dependence of India. You wanted to do something for upliftment of the position of the Bangis, but they are still rotting as bungis, even though you are living in the bungi colony. If you really want to approach the absolute truth and want to do some real good to the people in general all over the world, which shall include your idea of unity, peace, and non-violence, then you must give up the rotten politics immediately and rise up to the preaching work of the philosophy and religion of Bhagavad Gita without offering unnecessary dogmatic interpretation on them. I would only request you to retire from politics at least for a month only and let us discuss on Bhagavad Gita. I am sure thereby you shall get a new light from the result of such discussion, not only for your benefit but for the benefit of the world at large. Prabhupada is not talking about India. He is talking for the benefit of the world at large. In 1947, awaiting your reply with interest. Awaiting your reply with interest. Abhay Charan Ji. Enclosed a leaf of Back to God. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gandhi was killed January 20, 1949. Next letter to Sardar Patel. There are many letters. I skipped the other letters. Sardar Patel, Dr. Vallabhbhai Patel, Deputy Prime Minister, Government of India, New Delhi. Respect is sir. Now, why he is writing this? Because Srila Prabhupada came to know there is a big fund which the government has released for Gandhi Memorial, and he is asking that for preaching from the president. Amazing, no? To know our Srila Prabhupada. Gandhiji's memorial can be Gandhiji's memorial can fittingly be perpetuated by a continued effort to keep his motion in spiritual movement. To give a fitting memorial to Gandhi, we must follow and propagate his particular line of spiritual activity and must daily read the chapter from Bhagavad Gita in congregation. Mahatma Gandhi Memorial National Fund should be utilized for training up the people in general in the line of daily prayers and at different places of Gandhi Memorial been in a similar important place. These sacred centers are meant for diffusing spiritual education, and by this process the spiritual culture will be distributed. Mind would be trained up to concentration on higher duties which every human must do. Whom is instructing Vallabhbhai Patel. The Harijans means the God's men or the godly men, as distinguished from the Sanatic belief. How a man in principle be turned into God man in the Bhagavad Gita. His idea of castelessness society could only be given by the shape under the guidance of the principles of Bhagavad Gita. My humble self had the privilege of taking this training under the lotus feet of my spiritual master, and I am confident to organize this work in a scientific way, and if I am helped with the funds by the state. So he is asking the fund of Gandhi Memorial to establish education training center to establish the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, hoping to be executed by enduring upon your valuable time and awaiting your reply with deep interest. With my best regards, I beg to remain your faithfully Abhay Charan Ji. Now, the next letter is again Srila Prabhupada, 1956. He is writing a letter to Dr. Rajendra Prasad. You know who was he? Deputy Prime Minister, Mahatma Gandhi, now the President. His Excellency Dr. Rajendra Prasad, President Indian Union, Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi. It is the custom of India from time immemorial that citizens of the state would approach the king to express his grievances, and the king would very kindly consider case as duty bound to give them necessary relief by royal judgment. At present moment, your excellency is sitting in the position of the king, and by the will and the grace of the Lord, as a true Vaishnava, I must accept your excellency as the representative of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Sri Prabhupada writing. I have realized in the most thoughtfully that going back to Godhead is the highest privilege of mankind, and that is the supreme perfection of human life. Unfortunately, the present day human civilization is very much attracted to the beauty of apara prakriti, the illusory energy nature, and such that they are overpowered by the demonic form of propensity in the atheistic set of civilization, manifested in the matter of sense gratification. Such a beautiful writing it is. Such a beautiful writing. Unfortunately, the present day human civilization is very much attracted to the beauty of apara prakriti, the illusory material nature. As such, they are overpowered by the demonic form of propensity in the atheistic set of of set of civilization manifested in the matter of sense gratification. Any scholar will read it, he will be impressed. Such a writing it is. The aim of life should be to make sincere effort to back to Godhead. But contrary to this, the tendency is to go back go back to hell of the cycle of illusory animal life, as it is described in chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita. I'm just skipping. I am therefore eager to broadcast the secret of my success to all men. What is telling? I am I am eager to broadcast the secret of my success. My success is telling. Prabhupada did not have ISKCON. He didn't know where to go at that time. And he has already taken sannyas of Vedanta Swami. Where was I? To all men and women of the world as a natural consequence of all, and I am seeking your excellency's help and cooperation in this great attempt of transcendental service. India's specific culture demands that there should be a ministry of spiritual affairs to save the great culture of Bharatvarsh. Last line is so amazing. I am crying alone in the wilderness of the present moment. So please help me in this noble cause. Thank you in anticipation for an early reply. I am your servant in service of the Lord, A.C. Bhaktivedanta. Srila Prabhupada ki. Next letter, Prabhupada is writing again 1957, 21st January. Same day, no, next year, after 1 year. Same day, after 1 year. He is writing this letter from Mumbai and he is writing to K.M. Munshi, the governor of Uttar Pradesh then, in 57. Because this governor was very much propagating at that time that our culture, temples, Vedic life, all this was propagating. Prabhupada writes to him, a thorough reformation of management of these temples are required to spread mystic knowledge to these centers. No intelligent person is now attached to such temples. And he is giving bombarding temple bachao, look, the culture bachao, and Prabhupada is saying nobody is interested, no intelligent mind. Because the purpose of these temples has been lost sight due to the negligence on the part of both public and pujaris. The attention of people in general is attracted by the cinemas in places of temples because the Mayavadi philosophy, impersonality of Godhead has created a void in spiritual realm. So beautiful actually when we all of us, see we never knew, we just knew to, we knew, we knew temple for us is all about stress and in case the Lord is there, keep him also happy guy going. Many of the Hindus are atheists only, they go to the temple only out of fear to gain something. And out of the fear, if the Lord is really there, he may get angry and take away. Let me keep him also happy. That is the reason most of the Hindus go to the temple. So Prabhupada is so beautiful. Actually, we also experience when we go for the first time on a yatra organized by Srila Prabhupada ISKCON. That yatra, we actually come to know what actually exactly the situation of spiritualists and temples in India is. Correct or not? Prabhupada is writing about pujaris and public. Public go to temple like a picnic and pujaris are waiting to take money only. Prabhupada brought this change. Prabhupada brought this change. And he's talking this in 1959. So simple criticism of cinema house will not fulfill the purpose. We have to create a tangible interest in the temples for spiritual advancement of knowledge. It is necessary that the priest and pujaris must be enlightened, both with Hism and Sanskrit language also. They shall be primary teachers of the Bhagavad Gita and different things. We shall have an accompanied the process of temple entry by all classes, but they may be so admitted for proper qualification, not by for the purpose of mere show. Om Tat Sat. You are truly Bhakti Vedanta. Here comes the next amazing letter. 4th August 1958 from Bombay. Letter to Jawaharlal Nehru, Prime Minister of India, New Delhi to Dear Pandit Ji. Dear Pandit Ji, the basic principle of Indian culture is spiritualism, which defies the external attraction of phenomenal materialism. If the aim of spiritual realization is missed, the whole plan of materialism is sure to be frustrated, and that is the law of nature. Imagine who can, we also today, if we get imagine if I get an opportunity to write a letter to Prime Minister, it will reach him. What all we will think and what Prabhupada is writing. Material advancements of scientific knowledge cannot give even the desirous material prosperity to the people in general without spiritual help. Even they are given all the facilities of material need, yet unrest will continue to go till there is spiritual satisfaction of life. Just imagine this one sentence. I am to just picking the essence, from it, and it's all mixed. Prabhupada's writing here, 59. Poverty means poverty of knowledge. Poverty means poverty of knowledge. Therefore, it is spiritual knowledge which makes the man really rich, not the radio set or the motor car. Not the radio set or the motor car. Prabhupada doesn't have a car, doesn't have anything. Please therefore try to understand this position of Indian culture and try to give it to the Western brothers in the prescribed standard method of liberty. First, by pushing the last paragraph, you laugh like anything. The pushing on this authorized spiritual movement. Now, I think this is Srila Prabhupada was having League of Devotees. Yes. He's having League of Devotees. Prabhupada writing, this authorized spiritual movement, you can make the real adjustment in the Western modern science, material science, combined with Indian way of spiritual realization. And the best part is this. You should take leave from your present responsibility of a Prime Minister. As you are a popular gentleman on the world of the world, you can just engage rest of your most valuable time in this organized spiritual movement to achieve the aim of your life. He's having one center in Jhansi and he's writing the Prime Minister of India. Immediately give up everything and come and join. Prabhupada ki. So I was yesterday going through these letters. Prabhupada went through so much challenges. All of you know this. Prabhupada used to write to all scholars, and Prabhupada got an invitation in Japan. You know this? He got an invitation in Japan. The letter is so emotional. Prabhupada is writing. He doesn't have money to go. He doesn't have money. 1961, Cuttack, Ministry of Scientific Research and Cultural Affairs. I mean, even today we don't know if this exists. Isn't it true? Today we don't know who is the minister. Prabhupada in 1961, Secretary, to the Secretary, Ministry of Scientific Research and Cultural Affairs, Government of India, New Delhi. Dear sir, I beg to inform you that I am in the renowned order of life, devoted in the service of researching the science of cultural affairs of human spirit. आज तक किसी को समझेगा नहीं सेंटेंस. I am the author of several books, like and the copy of a foreword by Dr. N.K. Siddhanta, Vice Chancellor of New Delhi University, of my book, Easy Journey to Other Planets. By this, Srila Prabhupada only one book. He's written several books. He was going to write. And he knew Krishna sent him to only write books. Prabhupada says, I never wanted to come to this material, but Krishna sent me to write this books. As such, I have been invited by the organizer of the Congress of Cultural Human Spirit to be held at Japan in the month of May 1961. The copy of bona fide is also sent herewith for your reference. I am a sannyasi. My mission of life is to propagate the idea of cultivating spiritual vision of life, which alone can bring about peace and prosperity in human society. I wish to impress upon the delegates who is internationally joined the Congress for Culture, Human Spirit and Japan about the necessity of an international movement for this purpose, in cooperation of all the enlightened people of the world. The Japanese organizer have agreed to meet my expenses there, as you will find it from the enclosed paper. I am simply seeking help to dispatch me. एक parcel जाता है ना, to dispatch me to Japan to attend this. I beg to inform you with this connection. The following gentlemen know me well about my cultural activity and literary career. Radha Krishnan, the Vice President of India. Bhagirathi Mahapatra, HG Mahatma. I must reach Japan, Tokyo, before 9th May 1961. I shall request you to give me help and facilitate. He doesn't get this. Then again he writes to Radha Krishnan, Dr. Radha Krishnan, the Vice President of India. I beg to acknowledge receipt 24 instant. You know I am a sannyasi without any relationship with bank. Neither I am attached to financing institutes. But Japan organizers like my literature and they want me to present them. But you know what? Srila Prabhupada could not make it. She could not make it. He didn't get the money. But he tried. He tried his best. Now, I think the last letter, there are a few more letters, but one of the best ones which I like. Now, this Prabhupada is writing to whom I don't know. A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami, Camp, Bombay, July 28. To Guru. I don't know who's Guru. He's writing to one Guru. I think Guru was managing Prabhupada's publishing that time. This is July 20th, 1965, just before Srila Prabhupada left for America. Just before that. On the, my dear Guru, on the eve of my leaving India for America, 9th of August 1965, I want to see you interesting, interesting you with money and book in the matter of publication Srimad Bhagavatam so far advanced. I am going to America on the mission of propagating the publication of Srimad Bhagavatam, and I am taking with me 200 into 3 volumes books depending solely on the goodwill of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. I had no difficulty to getting passport, but it was too difficult to get P form sanction on account of a strict exchange control. But by the grace of Srila Prabhupada yesterday, the controller of exchange has allowed me to go. Now that is a beautiful story. Srila Prabhupada met uh, Gopal Agarwal's father in India in one house program in Kanpur. In whomever Srila Prabhupada would meet, he would tell them that my Guru Maharaj has told me to go to the Western world to preach. If you could help me, it will be great. So some would say yes, some would give some 100, 200 rupees, like that. So this Gopal Agarwal's father, he told, my son is in America. I will tell him to sponsor you a little and help you to go to America, stay when you go. And suddenly Srila Prabhupada got a letter that Gopal Agarwal from America has sent an invitation. Prabhupada did not have a passport. He had an invitation to America. When I first met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati in 1922 as a young manager of Bose Laboratory, etc., at first sight, he desired me to do what I am going to do. And I have taken all risk of my life just to carry out this order. When he came to Bombay, you were also a child of 4 years old. On your bowing down before his son looked like. Before him, he was pleased and blessed you. And 6 months later, when I saw him at Radhakund along with you, oh, his elder son looked. His divine grace lovingly called you as a cowboy friend of Lord Krishna, encouraged you, where are your cows? So do not forget such causeless mercy of great associate of Lord Krishna. Just try to cooperate with me in this great mission, especially in the ripe old age of 70. Now, the only difficulty is that in my absence, the printing work will remain suspended for want of supervision. What I want you to take is the responsibility, and I am prepared to pay you 100 rupees per month. Please, this please continue this cause of Srila Prabhupada. On your serving cause of Srila Prabhupada, you will be profited both material and spiritual. There is no anxiety for money. Now I shall arrange everything. You have to simply manage the affairs. And then he left for America. In America, 1 year he had a great struggle. After leaving the house of Shaili Agarwal, he comes to the Bowery, he comes to New York City, and he had a lot of struggle there. He was having so much difficulty that he again wrote to Shaili Agarwal. Because Shaili Agarwal wrote one letter to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, there are few, how are you Srila Prabhupada, how are you doing? Now Srila Prabhupada replies to her. First he asks about the child and preaches her about Prahlad Maharaj, Jesus Christ and all this. And then he writes, I propose starting a restaurant with a view that you may become one of the richest family in America. One can become rich only by trying his luck in business. It is not possible by serving others. One should have independent source of income that is possible only if one engages in business or in lordship. No, landlordship. If you can, now Prabhupada comes to the point, long later glorifying it, Prabhupada comes to the point. If you can invest $20,000 in a property in New York, which is worth $1 lakh, you can have at least $1,000 per month as a rent of the house. So that in 15 years time, you can become the proprietor of a good house in New York, which will fetch you $1,000 rent per month. And that is my next proposal. I think you can invest $20,000 some way or other, and if you can please do it immediately, because of that is a chance right now. If you send me $40 and it will help me going to California, I have decided like this. I'm expecting a letter of reception from the California. If I get, then I shall start for the country. Otherwise, by the first week of December, I shall return to India. If I return to India, then I shall return you the money before I start. Otherwise, I shall spend my journey. I shall start my journey to California. Hope you enjoy. Now, this letter, Srila Prabhupada was completely struggling. He had no money. He didn't know what to do. At that time, Srila Prabhupada wrote to Shali Agarwal. This is in 1960, 19th November 1965. And after that, he met the first disciples, and then they opened the storefront, and ISKCON was yesterday incorporated officially in New York. You can imagine the struggle Srila Prabhupada has gone through. And it is by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada today, the spiritual path, opportunity to all of us to dedicate our life in service of Krishna is so easily available. Because today the world is so misguided. First of all, the material attachments are so strong. And above that, there's so much of speculated bogus religion and philosophy. In that, Srila Prabhupada went through so much struggle. But the essence is Srila Prabhupada's faith, his boldness, his courage, his determination, and his clarity. You can see that when he did not have anything, and when he had his con, you should read Prabhupada's conversations, so powerful. So we all are very fortunate, and we should pray to Srila Prabhupada to bless us, to become sincere in our spiritual life, and as much as possible, we should put efforts to take up spiritual challenges, because once you take up Krishna consciousness and once you take up the sadhana bhakti as a daily life, then the material nature is so powerful that once you know, we feel that we know everything. And everyone tries to pen down his own purport of his own life because he knows everything. You know, he knows everything. But as soon as we do that, actually our individual endeavor to progress in spiritual life is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Only by mercy we can progress in spiritual life. Our sadhana, Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj used to say, what sadhana you do, what sadhana we can do, and what consciousness we have that we can do sadhana. Only by God's mercy of Sadhu Guru Vaishnavas, Sadhu Guru Vaishnavas, uh, Guru means spiritual master, Sadhu means Gurujan, who are as good as spiritual master, and Vaishnava community, Vaishnava. Only by their blessings we can do sadhana. The second thing which Prabhupada said, that the second thing what can help us to progress in spiritual life is deep prayer. What? Deep prayer. And now, how can we pray deeply? What situation makes us to pray deeply? Stress, anxiety, difficulties, helplessness. Knowing that we are stuck, that this, you see, these are all stuck. Knowing that we are stuck, just see that and think we are stuck somewhere. Yes, very good point, man. We are stuck. That knowing is very difficult. Forget about thinking that we are stuck. Everyone thinks that we are already one leg in the spiritual world, next leg we have to just lift. We are living in our arrogance that our एक पैर तो गोलोक में दूसरा उठाने की कमी है बस. That is my favorite pastime I'll share. Kamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was in this difficulties of managing affairs of temples and construction. And Srila Prabhupada happened to meet him. And when Prabhupada came there, Kamal Krishna Maharaj went and met Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I am done and I quit. He said, he gave a list of things to Prabhupada, how he is in anxiety, he cannot manage, whole day is thinking about construction, he is thinking the contractor is stealing, the cement bags are stealing, devotees are not doing their service. This whole anxiety throughout the day, throughout the night and morning when I am chanting also thinking this. So I quit. Prabhupada said, 30 seconds Prabhupada was silent, he was silent. He says that he was feeling that, what have I done? My spiritual life is finished. How do I speak to my spiritual master like this? Because Prabhupada kept that silence. Our spiritual authorities, when you talk to them, and after that, if they don't reply, it's a killer. If they don't reply anything, it's a killer. My Guru Maharaj was very expert in that. I went with a very big complaint to him one day night. He came from outside, and I met and sat with him next to his leg, and almost in tears, I was saying this, that, this, that. And I was complaining, and I was complaining about one senior leader. And I was expecting that he will say something. Something he will say that, yes, you are right, he did wrong, and I will talk to him. He heard and he said, I am very tired, I want to take rest. He said, I'm very tired, I'm going to take rest. I was like, I was finished, but very light. Very light, very light. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Prabhupada was silent. But Prabhupada was silent after a few seconds, I think half a minute or something. Prabhupada said, very grave voice, even I quit. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj narrated that I felt the earth should open and I should go inside. And then Prabhupada made that statement. He said, our anxiety to serve Krishna will take us back home, back to Godhead. So our prayers for ourselves depends on our sincerity. And who is sincere? Only we know how much sincere we are. Our prayers depends upon our sincerity. If we say, my Lord, Lord is saying, you are a rascal, I know. What you are praying is not true. You are a sense gratifier. You want to possess everything in the material world. But if we take anxiety to serve Krishna, that prayer will take us back home, back to. Because when you have anxiety to serve Krishna, you have no other option than just surrender and depend on Krishna. So that is the path Srila Prabhupada has given, wherein we can take anxiety to serve Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions or comments? Yes, Patel. Did I say that? Only if we get mercy. Yeah, but after that I said one more thing. that how much are we sincere to take that mercy, right? How much are we sincere to take that? Yes, in general, only by mercy we can actually even live and breathe or think spiritually. It's only by mercy. We should not be in illusion that our sadhana is helping us. We should always remember that only mercy of Guru and Vaishnava is what. See, spiritual life is all about consciousness, and consciousness fluctuates always by the modes. But the fact that so many of us who are here, you must have come with so many others, and some of you stayed in bhakti, right? Correct? Each one of you are coming from a circle where many were there, and some of you stayed back. Only one who is very sincere and very sincerely plays the mercy actually, because it by the modes our consciousness always fluctuates. But only when there is blessings, no, we remember. First thing is our heart is touched. Our heart is touched, and it's very personal for every individual. Very personal for every individual will be touched by something in the heart, either by a Vaishnava, either by a Shad or something. And how we actually get the taste. And we get attracted to come and come. But now to increase that loneliness, that is only possible by us. That is only possible by us. And how do we know? The hankering to progress is the evidence that you have got. Understand? The hankering to progress in spiritual life is the evidence that we have mercy. It's not something like, I can show, oh Mataji, iska itna hai or uska itna hai. It's not like that. It's individual. Our hankering to progress in spiritual life is the evidence. How much are we hankering? How much are we compromising? Okay, does that answer it? So I'll stop here. It's already at 30. Srila Prabhupada ki.